Hello, and welcome back for another episode of our love and relationship show, Love It or Shove It. And we are happy to be with you in the studio and bring amazing people, amazing guests that add the value to your love and relationship life. And just before we dive into the topic, let me introduce myself again. My name is Irina Portnova. I'm all about manifestation and how can we manifest the best partner that we want and how to do it effortlessly with lots of fun and joy. And I'm here with my co-host here, Bruno Gill. Bruno, just say a couple of words what you are doing in this world.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Bruno, as you all know. I'm a self-love coach. I like to primarily work with women, so I can help them, reach their maximum full potential without themselves dehumanizing themselves.
All right. And today we have a pleasure to have in our studio Bennett. Don, welcome. And it's a true pleasure because I love the topic that we are going to touch on. But before we dive in, can you just share a couple of words about yourself and what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Donna. I've been working in the relationship field for quite a while now. And what I really love doing is helping people uncover what's preventing them from loving. So belief systems, past traumas, toxic relationship patterns, that kind of thing. So they can really identify who is a good fit, how to have a really amazing relationship, and then also how to create intimacy and love and connection moving forward so your relationship lasts.
Yay! I love it. And I love today's topic. It's all about dating and how come it can be suck, right? And what to do in order to fix it. And I just wanted to say, I think this is like one of the topics we were just like briefly talking before going live. I said that sometimes that dating feels like, another task on to-do list. So how can we make it more fun, more casual, and something to explore? And Dawn is going to take us into that experience. Okay, welcome.
All right. Thank you. So one of the things that I've noticed when people are dating, so I ran a lot of dating events, really quick dating events, like speed dating. And what was really interesting is the level of judgment and both judgment and fear that people brought to the table when they showed up at these dating events. So I'd even sit them down at the beginning and say, this is about having fun. This is about getting to see, do you even want another conversation? This isn't about quote unquote finding a soulmate in 7 minutes. And the feedback that I would get from people sometimes is like 7 minutes is way too long to have a conversation. Because they were just judging each other on how they look, or the first thing that came out of a person's mouth, instead of really getting to know a person and seeing, is this someone that actually could be a good fit long-term, or even a friend?
I just love what you're sharing. I just wanted to fit in my comments because I was just like totally picturing as you're describing, and what comes to my mind, Zone, people do not know how to communicate. And this is another skill. So if I would go to date like something on this kind of events, I would be like, okay, let me polish my communication skill. Let me be a better listener. Let me just connect with people and see where it's going to take me, right? So this is exactly how things are unfolding, right? And I love how you say people just have these expectations. And that's what happened with the expectations. When we have the expectations and they are not met, then like everything goes down the drain. So the idea is I always teach people to have the intentions, right? And you can put something very lighthearted when it comes to intentions. Okay, I intend to have fun, like you said, Don, right? I intend to get to know somebody. I intend to meet interesting people because, again, it doesn't have to be like, like this spark, the attraction, but it could be something even like you mentioned on the, like friendship level. Maybe that person is so interested and you just want to get to know them better. And who knows, maybe later on they invite you to the party. And at that party, you are going to meet somebody, right?
Right. It's actually interesting, just to sidetrack here. I met somebody online dating at one point in time. We dated for 3 months. decided we were better off as friends. He introduced me to my husband when I was 30. So,
Look
and
at
it was
that.
great. And my former, we're not married anymore, but my former husband and I are still friends because that was the level of connection, right? It's like, how are we building
Mhm.
connection and love and openness with each other as well?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yes. So that's exactly what's important, right? When you go on these kind of things, just think about it. It just like go into the experience.
Yeah.
And the more we come with the energy of just experience and exploring and just do not hold these expectations, but rather, okay, I intend to have fun. No matter what, right? No matter who is going to show up, let me just have pure fun and excitement, because it's definitely better than just sitting on the couch. It's definitely great to know somebody. And again, we are learning to communicate, because a lot of times, like me and Bruno, we had this conversation, because I remember he sent me one of these posts where it said, like, sometimes when you take out a sex from the relationship, it's like the relationship is dead, because people do not even know what to talk about.
Mhm.
And I love how you have it set up that speed dating, it's actually, like engage in the conversation,
Yeah.
engage in the curiosity of asking what that another person is all about.
Right. Well, and when we are judged, and it's, of course, it's natural to judge people a little bit. We always get that first impression. So that does come naturally. And if we're only judging people by the way they look, we're going with our testosterone and our estrogen, like that immediate,
Mhm.
like lust kind of hormones. That that hormonal hit doesn't last forever. So when we actually get to know somebody and get curious about them, I actually find in my soulmate classes, when I teach my soulmate classes, and even talking to people that are in long-term relationships, most of them didn't think their partner was like super hot or super sexy right off the bat. They were like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
they're all right, But as they got to know them on that deeper level, as they found that deeper level of bonding, the deeper hormones hit that then created the chemistry that was more long
Mhm.
lasting. And so we get to remember that too, that initial chemistry can be very, very fleeting.
Absolutely. And I love what you shared. Bruno, what comes for you?
A lot of things. A lot of things. So I'm gonna try and state like 3 points. Point number one: people expect too much with very little to give too soon, and they wonder why things don't work out. I think point number two: people, like Irina was saying when I sent her the video about the like you take out sex, you take out cars, you take out houses, and you have nothing. That's because people don't love each other. They just like how they forget about the world, their own world, with that other person. So you're using that person out of necessity, not out of choice. You need the person. You don't love the person. Um, and then point number three, um, I feel like then again to I prefer when people understand me, because based on my past history, nobody ever understood me. Nobody ever comprehended me. When somebody comes along in my life and talks to me like I've talked to myself all my life, and I see my other half, to me that lasts more.
Mhm.
Um, to me that sounds better. To me that is I'm seeing more than a lover. I see a friend. I
Mhm.
see a hole in one. You know, um, and to me like that's amazing, because I'd rather have that than get on a loop of bad relationships, bad people, bad women, like on a loop of just shit, because that to me just doesn't work. Right? So,
Right. Well, and one of the things you're speaking to is different types of intimacy versus like a codependence or versus just going with someone for the superficial aspects of their life. Right. So when we actually have different types of intimacy, emotional intimacy, intellectual intimacy, physical intimacy, now when one aspect of the relationship is waning, which happens, right? We all go through moments of stress and maybe now we don't have time for physical connection. The other parts of the connection maintain the relationship. So really being able to find those aspects of a person that you love and adore when the sexual part goes down, or when, hey, we're fighting, but I know that they're behind me spiritually. I know that they're behind me intellectually. I know that they're supporting me, whatever I do, even if we're bickering right now. We're in a state of disagreement. Mm-hmm.
Super cool. Yes, I love that. So, Dawn, take us a little bit on this dating, like adventure. I like to call it adventure. Why not? Right?
Right.
So, what are the first things, like for everybody to know when they decided, okay, this is something, let's say, like somebody had a heartbreak and now they kind of healed and they want to go back and explore the field of dating. What would be tips that you want to share with them?
Yeah. I always tell people, know what you want. So a lot of people are like, I just don't want another narcissist. I just don't want another woman that's really judgy around money. I just don't want, and right. And whatever we're focused on is what we attract. So if I'm focused on the negative relationships in the past, if I'm focused on the toxicity, if I'm focused on all these bad ways I was treated, that's what I not only resonate with energetically, but it's what I see in everybody. Right. And so then I'm sitting in a place of mistrust of myself. I'm in a place of suspicion, waiting for the next betrayal or whatever it is. And it creates an inability for me to really connect with the next person I'm dating. So when I bring people through their soulmate courses, one of the things we do is say, what did you love about your past relationships? What did you hate about your past relationships? Take what you hated, turn it into the opposite, into the positive. And then let's put them in. So what do you really need in a partnership? And now how can you be curious about the people in front of you and find out, do they have those qualities? Do they have those traits? Who are they in the world? Not just with you. Because that's a mistake we make with dating is like, oh, they're so nice. And then we fall victim to love bombing. Or they're so, and we go with the little breadcrumbing because, but they did this. Oh, but they did this. Oh, but then they were a jerk. Oh, but and we're not looking at who are they in the bigger world? Because if they're treating everybody like that, we're just next in line. So how are we actually looking at the person as a whole, not just as how do I feel when I'm with them right now in the minute, and I'm going to ignore all the flags because right now I'm emotionally attached to how you're making me feel.
Yeah. I love what you shared, Dawn. And what comes up for me as you are talking was, like I always look at the actions because everybody can speak beautiful words, but words mean nothing, right? So if you really want to see how serious the person is, you want to make sure that that person shows it through the actions.
Right. But even beyond, how are they treating you? How are they treating everybody? If they're super sweet to you and they're awful to the waitress, there's something that's going on there, right? About their deeper personality that they're showing you.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking like, I was thinking about when it comes to those qualities. If I go out, right, with a woman, right, and she's treating the guy or the woman or the girl horribly. Let's say it's a guy because I'm a guy, right? If I was the waiter, if I was the waiter, she'd be treating me the same way. It doesn't matter, And so you ain't special as much as you believe you are. You're not, because you're lucky to be in a position that you are. But don't get it twisted. If you were in their shoes, you'd be next, man.
Absolutely. And you often will be next. As soon as you fall off the pedestal, then there you are.
And it's not just in dating. It's like if we go again back to what Arina was saying, like if you take out the sex, the cars, the money, the marriages, the watches, the holidays, the trips, when the guy starts losing the value by what he can provide, see you later, alligator. Like literally, like you're out, my friend. You're out. And usually you're out because somebody else is already in that you have no idea of. And even if you do have any idea of, there's nothing you can do. But you have no say in what they do or what they don't do. So,
right.
Gotta look out for yourself.
So what I hear from Dawn, okay, first, I guess we want to be more intentional. If we go on the date, what kind of partner we would love to have, right?
Mhm.
So when we know exactly what we want, rather than focusing on what we do not want, right? Not to attract that same person. Okay, that's step number one. Okay, be crystal clear on what exactly we want to see in the partner. What are other great tips?
Have some patience as well, because mm, I got attacked for this on YouTube once when I was talking about everything's a test, but it kind of is, right? If you're on a date and you're afraid that that you might spill the water, like, oh my gosh, I just spilled my water on my date. How they treat me when I spill my water is a total test. Not that I want
Mm-hmm.
to spill my water on them, but if they're like making fun of me, that's not a person I want to be with. And
Mm-hmm.
so when we come into the dating world with this idea of every action and reaction that we have together is actually a measure of how compatible we are, it totally takes the pressure off. It brings us to a place of dating from self-love and compassion and our power, instead of, oh, I really hope that Bruno likes me. What if, oh God, what if my hair's not right and he decides that, what if he, oh, what if, and now I'm worried about what I say, and now I'm doing all this stuff and I'm not really connecting with him because I can't really look,
Mm-hmm.
not connecting. Instead, if I'm just like, well, that just happens, and I wait for him
Right.
to react, is he kind? Is he compassionate? Is he trying to help me clean it up?
You
That's what.
know what? I just love this, John, what you said. I think I would do it on purpose. Just,
Well, watch out, because that's also a test. How are you
just
going to
to
react if I
see
told you that?
exactly, exactly, just to see the reaction of the person. And this way I know, is this my person or not? Yeah,
Right.
totally. I love that.
And you can
I'll
also
tell
pick
you
it up.
what.
Go ahead, Dave.
I'll tell you what. Coming from a man's perception, like my
Mhm.
perception, right? I hate that.
Hate what?
I hate like when people try to test me.
Yeah.
I don't like it
Mhm.
because women usually sometimes the way they used to test me, they test my ego. Like, let's see if he gets angry. Let's see how angry he gets. Because if he gets really angry, I don't want to get to a point where I'm having kids with this guy. Because if this guy gets super angry with his kids, I can't even imagine what he'll do to me or to my kids. I don't like people testing me makes me angry, and I'll tell you why. Because to me, I feel like it's arrogant.
Mhm.
Like, ask the question. Um, you don't have to test anybody if you're observant.
Right.
I think
But you know what? I
if
kind
you're
of
good at
disagree.
observing people, I don't
Yes, I kind of disagree because in actions, you can actually see the real human. Like, do you react or do you respond in this kind of situation?
I know
And,
exactly.
it's not about, it's one thing when person says, oh, if this happened, I would be so sweet, I would be understanding. But when that situation actually presented and the person does not know how to hold the anger or express themselves in a way that it's normal, right? So basically we are looking for these also signs. Like, I would be looking for them, because if the man becomes aggressive just because I spilled the water, I would be like, whew, that's it, bye now.
But that's the difference that I think Bruno is pointing out. If I accidentally spill my water on him, or I accidentally do something that displeases him, how does he react? Versus if I'm poking at him,
Yeah,
and if I was Bruno, I would walk away. I'd be like, you know what? This is not a person I want to date, because if they're poking at me to see my reaction, she has a
yes.
problem with trust. She has a problem with her own boundaries. She has a problem. So I think that he's got a good point, that like that purposeful testing, that's not.
There
No,
you
I'm
go.
just talking about the water. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly like I said. Like, water, I would do it just to see the reaction of the person, because it can tell you a lot of things. I
Like
would. Yep.
like purposeful testing for me is just unnecessary
Mhm.
because you're creating a problem out of nothing. Especially with me. If you want to purposely test me, I'm not gonna like. I'm just not gonna like it because that is one of my biggest pet peeves ever. Purposely testing. If you accidentally spill your water, I understand, right? Or if you accidentally do something, or if you just do something, it's fine. Now, if you're setting up a situation to then make it look like it's an accident, no way. No, 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 no.
All right.
I don't. That's,
Can we just talk a little bit about more other things, because I know we are like running out of time. What other tips that you would suggest, John, to look for the datings? And I love the way that you said patient. And you know what? I feel like sometimes it's the number game. Again, how many times do you go on the dates in order to see, okay, whether you are creating that relationship or not? And I know that the more dates people have, the more opportunities, the more chances they have to connect. What do you say about it?
So this can go either way, right? Because I used to be in the place where I was like, I'll give everyone 2 dates because maybe they were nervous on the first date, or maybe I didn't get a sense of them very well on the first date. But now I'm more clear that if there's something very clear that I do not appreciate or like about them, meaning like they wouldn't be a long-term fit, I won't do that, because why waste each other's time? But also it's about releasing them with love, right? And this is where we get into traps with dating, is we take things as rejection, when really it's like, hey, we're not a good fit. I'm going to release you to someone that's really going to love you, and I'm going to release myself to someone that's really going to love me. And I think when we come at it from that angle, we have so much more power in ourselves. And but that also speaks to all the stuff that's going on now with like ghosting and the zombieing and the submarining and all the, I'm going to pop in and pop out and pop in and pop out, or I'm be sleeping with these people over here and we haven't defined a relationship. Like that also, we need to understand, like, where are our own boundaries about what we're looking for and tolerating and deserving.
Mm-hmm.
If someone
Mm-hmm.
needs to have multiple partners on the side, if that's a lifestyle, like I was polyamorous for a long time. And so that's a different angle, because we're all open, we're all communicative, everyone knows what's going on,
Right.
there's agreements, right? But when it's just happening on the side, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
energy,
Mm-hmm.
you really need to know what you want in a relationship. And if
Mm-hmm.
someone says, well, this is just what I need right now, this is just the situationship that I'm going to engage with you, is that what you want or no? Because that person
Mm-hmm.
is also showing you who they really are. Are they afraid of commitment? Are they whatever it is? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And is that really what you deserve? Or do you deserve something better?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yes, awesome. So, what are other tips, like in terms of how do we change this from dating, like being the obligation versus like fun and exploration?
Mhm. I think we need to get back as seeing humans as humans and just being really
Mm-hmm.
curious about them. What can I learn
Mm-hmm.
from this person? What can I learn from whatever it is that we're doing? Am I
Mm-hmm.
stepping out of my box? Like, oh, I've never been on a picnic date before, and I actually hate picnics, but what the heck? I'm just going to try it. And
Mm-hmm.
because I'm here, right? So, uh,
Right.
and I just go back to everybody, just treat each other like humans, right? Stop
Mm-hmm.
pretending, stop hiding, stop lying. I can't tell you how many dates I went on where people were like, oh, let's get together again, and then never showed up or
Mm-hmm.
never contacted back. It's like, just get the balls to say, you know what, this is really lovely, and I don't think this is going to work. Thanks for the
Mm-hmm.
night, right? And same
Mm-hmm.
thing with women, right? Just speak up, because we're afraid of hurting each other's feelings, but it's way more painful to be ghosted than it is to just have someone be like, I had a great time. This isn't a good fit. Like,
Mm-hmm. I
dude,
love that.
giving me
Yes.
so much effort and strain and stress about like, oh, what's going on? Why aren't they texting me back?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you know what comes to me is the most important thing is to be you, right? Authentic selves. Because when people try to pretend who they are not, the more they play this game, finally something is going to show up and the person is going to explode. And the
Mhm.
other person would be like, wait, where does this come from, right? So the idea is just, like if you don't like, like I'm like that. If I don't like something, I'm just telling you, right? So this is who I am. So, and it would be great when people become more themselves and feel okay. Obviously, there is a way to say things, right? When we are not hurting somebody, when we become more conscious with the words, but still we are expressing our boundaries and the way we feel in any given situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bruno, you have something to add?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Um, so any tips? Well, I think we mentioned a couple. Um, we can just kind of go through them again. Maybe add something more. Well, be patient. I think patience is very important. Remember, you cannot expect anything from other people that you cannot give yourself. It's not fair on them. If you think about it, like let's put it on another level, right? If you're smart, right, why would you hang around other people that are not smart? You know you're worth more, and you know what you're worth as well, right? And the same thing applies to dating. Don't lower your standards, right? Those people wouldn't do that for you, right? Think about it, right? Think about how those people wouldn't lower their standards for you. So why are you lowering your standards for them,
Mhm.
right? And be patient, and you're gonna find what you want. If you have like, uh, would you rather, be single for a couple of months and have a divorce after like 20 years? Or would you rather be single for 2 or 3 years, find the love of your life, and never get divorced?
Right.
I feel like, right, I feel like um, at some point, like you have to grow up, right? And just accept the fact that if you have to wait, you're going to wait. Because you want to regret not waiting. You want to regret not focusing on something else other than desperately and miserably hanging on to your life. So, I need to find somebody. I need this. Well, you have yourself. You have all that you need, really. You know? And eventually a person will pop up, right? So go with the flow. Everything will work out the way it has to work out. And then again, I also believe that things have a timing in life to happen, right? Um, and so ultimately, to end, I'll say, you know, what does it matter what happens in your life? If you, for example, end up finding the love of your life, who cares how single you stay if you find the love of your life? Who cares if in the next few months you're going to lose more money? If you know that by the end of the year, if you believe that by the end of the year, you know, you're going to manifest hundreds of thousands, right? It doesn't matter what happens when you believe, right, that you're going to get what you want inevitably. I feel like that's power. No matter what's happening in your life, you don't get shook because you know that everything is happening for the right way. And I feel like the same thing applies for me. Who cares how many emails you got? Who cares how many people try to destroy you and lie to you and shame you and use you? Who cares? If you're going to find the one, you're going to find the one in every anyway. So, yeah, stay powerful within your own being.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of self-love is not only being strong in yourself, as you mentioned, but knowing what you want as well. Right. And you're right on with that. Not
I'm a
settling.
self-love coach, man.
Not settling, but also not being there's a difference between being super particular about superficial things and particular about really deep things that matter. Right. So sometimes people are like, well, they don't like hiking and I love hiking. Okay. And what if they share other things with you, or what if they'll go hiking with you sometimes? So sometimes looking at those verses, like I'd rather have someone that communicates well and that's playful and that is, has good intimacy and all of those things. Like those are the deeper things that we want as well. That yeah, definitely are worth waiting for.
Awesome. So, John, would you like to close us off with some tip, or I mean, not tip, the tool for
Yeah.
successful dating?
So one of the things that I have, and it's a free offer that I have, is looking for love class, and it's a precursor to my learning to find love course, which is the full-on soulmate course. What it does is it helps you with dating, identify what is it that you're looking for, and how to ask questions when you're in a date to actually suss out some of the deeper aspects of another person. How do you get curious about who they are in a way that actually matters? So let's say if you have, like, you want to have a family down the line, so just being like, oh, do you want kids? Like, how do you actually talk about the values of family? So tell me about what you believe about family is a whole different question than, do you want kids someday? Right. So how do we get deeper into these conversations and really get to the soul level of what we want in a partner? So that I dropped that in the chat. But it's also, it's unifiedmind.info/looking. So that's a free offer for everybody.
Awesome.
Just remember to have fun, really. Be yourself. Stop wasting time by being somebody else. Like, to Bruno's point, right? If you're faking it, it's going to end up wasting time, money, and energy for everybody. So just be true to yourself. Find yourself love, find yourself confidence in order to find your partner.
Yep, absolutely love it. Thank you so much, John. It was a wonderful conversation. And as always, for anybody, if you have any comments, thanks for everybody who tuned in and just listened to our conversation. If you have any comments, advice, or tips, drop them in the comments and we'll read. And have a beautiful dating life if you are in that stage. And if you are still on the fence sitting and thinking, okay, is it for me or not? Just, I encourage you to try. There is nothing wrong in that, right? Just try and see where it's going to take you, because our entire life is just the play. And let's see how we can play better and create a better life for ourselves. Thank you so much and have a beautiful, beautiful day. And see you on the next episode. Bye.